Picture this scenario. You work hard all year, earn your paycheck, and when tax season rolls around, you hand over a significant chunk of it to the government. Meanwhile, someone with a billion-dollar fortune pays virtually nothing in taxes while living an extravagant lifestyle. Sound impossible? Well, for over a century, a perfectly legal strategy has been operating in plain sight, allowing the ultra-wealthy to live like kings while contributing almost nothing to the system. This isn't an offshore scheme, it's a wealth preservation technique built directly into our tax code, so simple that a USC law professor gave it a three-word name: buy, borrow, die. The man behind the phrase is Professor Edward McCaffrey. In the mid-90s, he coined the term not to help the rich, but to explain to his students why the tax system felt so unfair. For years, academics dismissed him. Then, in 2021, a bombshell ProPublica investigation using leaked IRS data proved he was right all along. The wealthiest Americans weren't just paying lower tax rates, some were paying almost nothing, effective tax rates below 1% of their wealth's growth, and they did it by using the system exactly as it was designed. Let's break it down, starting with the first step: buy. This is where the wealthy make a fundamental choice that separates them from everyone else. Instead of earning traditional income that gets taxed immediately, they focus on purchasing appreciating assets that don't produce regular taxable income. Think growth stocks that don't pay dividends, real estate that quietly increases in value, art collections, or private company shares. The key is that these assets can grow for decades without triggering any tax obligations. As long as you never sell them, the government can't touch the gains. This is a complete inversion of how most people build wealth. You go to work, earn a salary, and get hit with income and payroll taxes immediately. Then you try to save what's left. The wealthy flip the script. They buy assets first and let them grow tax-free. But you can't pay your bills with an unrealized capital gain. This brings us to the most brilliant part of the system: borrow. Once you have substantial appreciating assets, you can use them as collateral to secure massive low-interest loans. Financial institutions have created products specifically for this, like securities-based lines of credit. And here's the magic trick from a tax perspective: borrowed money is not taxed. If you borrow $1 million against your stock portfolio, that $1 million flows into your bank account completely tax-free. You can use it to buy houses, yachts, private jets, anything, and the IRS treats it as if it doesn't exist. The terms are incredible. The larger your portfolio, the lower your interest rate, sometimes as low as 2 or 3%. And while you're paying that small interest fee, your assets are still growing. If your portfolio earns 7% a year and your loan costs 3%, you're still coming ahead. Your wealth is compounding while you live a lavish, tax-free lifestyle funded by debt. This creates a perpetual cycle. As your assets grow, you can borrow more. But what happens to all that debt? This is where the final phase comes in: die. It's not just a morbid turn of phrase, it's the culmination of the entire strategy. When someone using this strategy passes away, their heirs inherit the assets through a massive tax loophole called the stepped-up basis. Under current law, when you inherit an asset, its cost basis for tax purposes is stepped up to its market value on the date of death. All the capital gains that accumulated over a lifetime simply vanish. If your grandfather bought stock for $10 50 years ago, and it's worth $500 when he dies, you inherit it as if he paid $500 for it. All that appreciation becomes tax-free forever. The heirs can then immediately sell a portion of these inherited assets, pay off all the outstanding loans that funded their parents' lifestyle, and owe $0 in capital gains taxes. The family wealth not only survives, it emerges stronger than before. Let's use a real-world example. Meet Sarah, an entrepreneur who accumulates $1 million. Instead of spending it, she invests it in a portfolio of appreciating assets. Let's say her portfolio grows at a conservative 7% annually. After 10 years, her $1 million is now nearly $2 million. That's a $1 million gain that has never been touched by the taxman. If she were to sell, she'd face a brutal tax bill of around $250,000. But Sarah doesn't sell.
Instead, she walks into a private bank and takes out a securities-based line of credit, borrowing up to $1.4 million tax-free against her portfolio. The interest rate is, say, 6.5%. She pays about $90,000 a year in interest. Compare that to the $250,000 tax bill she avoided. But it gets better. While she's paying that interest, her underlying portfolio continues to grow. If it earns 8% return, she's actually making a profit on the arrangement. Her portfolio grows by $160,000 while she pays $91,000 in interest. She's netting $70,000 a year just by using debt. She lives off borrowed money that the government can't tax while her actual wealth continues to compound. When Sarah passes away 30 years later, her portfolio has grown to $8 million. She's accumulated millions in loans, but her assets grew much faster. Her heirs inherit the entire $8 million portfolio. Thanks to the stepped-up basis, the $7 million of capital gains that accumulated over decades are wiped clean. They can sell $4 million worth of the inherited assets to pay off all the outstanding loans and owe $0 in capital gains taxes. The family wealth not only survives, it emerges stronger than before. This isn't a niche strategy for a few families. Securities-based lending is a massive industry. Major banks offer these as standard products for anyone with $1 million or more in investable assets. The system literally rewards you for being richer, offering better interest rates the larger your portfolio grows. And it creates dynastic wealth that is almost impossible to erode. Each generation inherits the assets tax-free, continues the buy-borrow cycle, and passes even more wealth to their children. This is why wealth inequality has exploded. You can't tax wealth that never gets realized as income. Politicians can argue about raising capital gains tax rates to 90%, and it wouldn't matter one bit to someone using this strategy because they never sell. This is how a teacher or a nurse can end up paying a higher effective tax rate than a billionaire. The most frustrating part is that our entire political discourse completely misses the point. The financial media runs breathless stories about saving a few $100s on your tax bill, while financial wealth management firms are quietly marketing these tax-efficient liquidity solutions to their clients. It's corporate speak for helping the rich opt out of the system that everyone else pays to support. And it shapes the market for all of us. When you understand that the largest investors never plan to sell their assets, it changes everything. It creates an artificial scarcity, locking up a significant portion of the supply of stocks and real estate, which puts upward pressure on prices. The wealthy aren't just avoiding taxes on their gains, they're potentially inflating the value of everyone else's investments. So, there you have it. The buy, borrow, die strategy isn't a conspiracy. It's a perfectly legal technique, hiding in plain sight, allowing the ultra-wealthy to pay virtually nothing to support the society that made their fortunes possible. Now you know why billionaires can pay lower tax rates than their secretaries. The game was rigged from the start. Most of us just didn't know we were playing by different rules.
If this opened your eyes to how these systems really operate, make sure you subscribe. We're just getting started breaking down the hidden mechanisms that shape your world. The more you understand, the better equipped you'll be to navigate them. That next episode might just contain the insight that transforms your entire financial future. Don't miss it.